Hello and welcome back to My Big Fat Mess. I'm Anthony Ferraro and today, come on, I reckon you can guess it. Have a bit of a look. That's right, tiramisu. So, what is a tiramisu? A tiramisu is basically a little pick-me-up. Coffee, sugar, mascarpone, biscuits, just to hit all those right ketones. It's not a big slab serving, it's not a big thick cake. It's a pick-me-up, and a pick-me-up is something that's usually in a small dose, super concentrated, super full of power, and super full of flavor. So what have we got here? We have half a kilo of fresh mascarpone that is nice and silky, 100 grams of caster sugar, 6 eggs, Mr. Bialetti, my little mate, look at him go, look at that. Ooh, look at him, love the moustache. The mocha, because we're gonna make some fresh espresso. I'm using Illy. But you can use whatever you like. But ultimately, with a dessert that is this intense and you want richness of flavor, try and get yourself the best possible ingredients you can. So at the moment, the Illy blend, absolutely amazing, love it. We've got some Savoiardi biscuits, our little vessel for our pick-me-up, which is nice. Also good, can convert for espresso martinis. But that's for another day. And then a little bit of dusting chocolate. I do have a liqueur. Now, I've got Frangelico. Why do I have Frangelico? Because for a dessert like this, I believe the coffee is going to give you all the flavor you need if you've got a really good quality coffee. You don't particularly need to use a coffee liqueur. You can if you like, but I like using a nut-based liqueur. So my absolute favorite is Nocello. So it's a walnut-based liqueur. It's Italian delight. It's just amazing. Couldn't get my hands on that. So I thought, what's the next best thing? Frangelico, absolutely fantastic. It's really quick to put it together. There is a few key steps that we have to do. You know, we've got to separate the eggs and we've got to use the sugar with the yolks only, beat the whites by themselves, fold everything in, bada bing, bada boom, bada boop. But I think the first thing we should do is get our coffee going and cooling. So if you do not have a mocha or a cafetera or I don't know what they call this in English. I'm a wog. We just call it a cafetera or a mocha. But if you do not have one of these, look, head down to your local cafe. There's lots around. Go and get yourself 5 or 6 shots of coffee. Take those home, cool them, use that. Be better than instant coffee. No instant coffee goes in tiramisu, okay? So go to your local cafe and get some stuff done. If you've got a pod machine, like a little Lavazza thing or a Nespresso or whatever bloody hell else is out there, use one of those. Now, this is a 6-cup machine, so I'm actually going to use 6 cups of coffee. So 6 shots for half a kilo, because basically 1 shot per serving. So we are making 5 servings. We're going to have 1 now, and then the rest we'll do it for later. So the induction is going to do its thing. While we're doing that, let's separate our egg yolks and our egg whites. Now, there are lots of ways you can do it. I've shown you guys how to separate egg yolks before. I won't do it again, but I will be doing it the cheater's way because it's a lot faster and we basically get it all done a lot faster too. Okay, there's our first one. So why do I have 6 egg yolks if I've got half a kilo? So I like to do 1 egg, whole egg, for every 100 grams of mascarpone. And then just a little bit extra for love. Why is that? Because the egg yolks basically bind it all together. They give it body and richness. And the egg whites give it that lovely fluffiness that we need. And they just make it absolutely amazing. It's the glue that holds it together. What don't you see here, boys and girls? Cream. No cream goes in tiramisu. It's mascarpone. Don't cheat. Ooh, the coffee's doing its thing. Come and have a look. There is something so beautiful about watching coffee come up out of a mocha. Now that is just liquid gold in there, and then pretty soon it's going to start violently spitting with an intense pressure, creating a nice little crema at the top. This is going to give us a really good extraction. Also, the fact that we're using an induction cooktop is amazing because it boils that water so much faster with, I guess, a violent intensity. And that gives us a better extraction as well. While that's all happening, let's get our egg yolks going. So I'm just gonna beat these until they have stiff peaks. Start it slow, gently work your way up. Don't just kind of go whack all the way, because you can bugger up the mechanisms inside. Now, you know if you've done these properly, if you can literally take the bowl and spin it over your head. Are we game? Let's do it. Lovely, stiff peaks. How good is that? Nice and stiff. They've taken the form of that bowl that we've just scooped them out. So they're ready to go. The coffee is good to go. Do not be in a rush to cool this down. Just allow it to do its thing naturally. Don't put any ice or anything in here. You could sit it in an ice bath if you're in a rush, but don't put any ice in there because you want the intensity of the coffee. And it's amazing. So for that amount of coffee, which is 6 cups, I'm gonna put 2 shots of liqueur in there. You can put more if you like, or less, but ultimately, I reckon 2. All right, it's now time to cream the egg yolks with the sugar. So, egg yolks go in. Look at that, beautiful, nice and clean. All the sugar goes in. Actually, we'll do the sugar in slowly. So first, just get that on, like, done, doing its thing. Go a little bit more, happy with that. And now just start popping in the sugar gently. And this will change color. You'll know what I mean when I say cream it, because it literally creams up to a nice creamy orange, almost like a pale orange, deep yellow. And then once that's done, just tap the sides, because that'll get any excess sugar that's stuck to the side. Just speed up the process. And you can see the colors changing. Now this takes about 3 to 4 minutes. And the reason it takes so long is not only are we creaming the eggs and sugar, but we're also gently dissolving the sugar mix inside the yolks. At this point here, what I like to do, now this is a little trick, this is my mum's little trick. You just put a little bit of liqueur in there, just a touch. Why? Because that liqueur is going to do a couple of things. It's going to counteract that eggy taste. Now, because we are basically doing raw eggs and cheese, sometimes you can have that eggy taste that comes through. This counteracts it, it adds a little bit more moisture, and it helps that sugar dissolve nicely, so that when we're eating it, we're not actually eating this granularly sugar. Now, I'm going to fold in the mascarpone, a beautiful zabaione, which is, it's the Italian version of a sabayon. This is an uncooked sabayon, but it's just basically the emulsion of sugar and eggs. See how we're just being really gently and getting this in? I mean, you can see that the mascarpone is actually really smooth. There's no lumps in it. Now here's when we want to be gentle. We do not want to be too rough. All we're just trying to do is gently fold that in together and mix it up nicely. I'm gonna give that like another 10-20 seconds and then we're done. Silky, smooth, delicious. The last thing to do now is fold in the egg whites. Our stiff peaks. And you just keep going until you've got this really nice consistency in there and you get rid of all those lumps. So our mascarpone mix is ready. The coffee is ready. Look at this. Just look at that. Gentle, silky, soft, gorgeous. It's now time to assemble. So we need the Savoiardi. Now there are so many different types you can get out there. Just get what's available to you. So this is a Savoiardo or a sponge finger biscuit or an Italian sponge finger. They come with lots of names, but the Italian name is Savoiardo because of the way that it's made. Smells really nice, and you want to make sure that you've got them just enough to fit in one nice little layer inside. So I like to cut them. So, and kind of figure out where they're going to sit, because you want at least 2 or 3 little bits in there. Okay, so we've got 2 and a couple of dicky bits. Excellent. Now, if you were going to make multiples of these, which I will. Like I said, we've got about 5 or 6 that we're going to make from this. And you can put that into a piping bag and then just pipe your way. That's the fast way to do it. But I always start with crema on the bottom, but not a lot. Just enough to hold the form. Then biscuits go inside the coffee. And done. Not terribly too long, because you've got to remember, you don't want them sopping with coffee. You just want enough in there to hold it and give you that nice little pick-me-up that you like. And you use the little offcuts. Don't waste any of this stuff. It's brilliant, it's delicious, it's amazing. And this is why it's called tiramisu. It's a pick-me-up. This is not meant to be a whole slab of cake. It's not meant to be a giant, huge piece. This is just something to give you that little coffee, energy, sugar hit that you like. And it's meant to be delicate and sexy all at the same time. Just gently, gently, gently get it in there. I mean, look how beautiful that is. That then goes in the fridge to set for 10 to 12 hours. And then once it comes out, you sprinkle a bit of chocolate on there. So we're not gonna wait 10 to 12 hours. We're gonna do it now, just so you get to see what it looks like. And then, I think we have to rip in. Well, I've got to try it, right? Just a little bit. And it's about the nuance of flavor. It's about the blending and the marriage of all of these little things that come together. We have chocolate, we have mascarpone, no cream. There is that little bit of caffeine, little bit of liqueur. It's all about the balance of flavors. And everything is designed to marry together, to work in harmony, to work in unison, and just taste amazing. So there you have it, tiramisu, a little pick-me-up. I have to try some. Wow, that is going to taste so much better in 10 hours once it has time to set. I'm going to go ahead and knock up the rest. I am going to finish this, I'm not going to wait. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you enjoy eating it as much as I do. Buon appetito.